The following program contains coarse language and mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Live from the prairie plains of Canada, direct from Winnipeg, Manitoba, around the globe and across all 24 time zones, at blazing speeds on the internet, it's time for the R-rated podcast talk show that promises straight talk and no bullshit. It's Night Talk with your host, Dr. Talk. No topic too taboo, nothing's too risque. He takes it all on for your entertainment. So settle in, turn it up, and tune in for Night Talk with Dr. Talk.
Welcome, folks. Good evening. This is another edition of Night Talk with your host, Dr. Talk. That's me. And this is an honor for me because this man was one of my childhood idols in terms of comedy. Ukrainian comedy, for those of you out there, Nashi Lude. So please welcome to the show the man behind Nestor Pister. This is Don Ast. Don, welcome to the Night Talk.
Great to be here, Dr. Talk. Great to be here. We're up against a formidable foe.
Yes.
And the Oscars. So
that's okay.
Maybe we'll get an Emmy for this, or an Emmy, or a Fat Zero.
Sure. Yeah, we're going against the Oscars, but I know from my own experience on Facebook, there's a lot of people that are tuning in tonight to see you, sir.
Well, that's good. Just as long as nobody slaps my face.
No. I won't let that happen.
Well, no, that happened last year at the Oscars. So
yeah.
That was terrible.
Wasn't that something?
That was uncalled for, really.
Oh my God!
But of course, that was to promote his love and worship of his better half, I guess. But who the hell knows why people do stupid things like that? You know.
I think I heard.
Go ahead.
I think I heard that Will Smith has been banned from the Oscars for the next 10 years.
He has.
Is that right?
Yeah, he has. That is true. And if I had my druthers, he wouldn't be back at all. Because, you know, when things are said, especially between people in the business, if you haven't got a thicker skin than that, and it's not being made fun of. Let me put it this way. People, when they listen to comedy, or you get people saying, well, he's making fun of them. That's not true. What you're doing is you're just conveying a message, and you're not making fun of anybody. I mean, if you tell a dog joke, you make fun of dogs? No, it's just a dog joke.
Yeah.
If you tell a people joke, it's a people joke. So my humor comes from the fact that I lived in a dialect family, starting from my mom and dad to all my aunts and uncles. So my favorite thing of saying, well, in our community and in our family, we spoke two languages. One was English, the other broken English.
Broken English.
Yeah. So what happened there is, I've been attuned to this dialect since I came out of the womb, so to speak.
Yes.
Oh, isn't that a cute baby? Well, I should hope so. I tickled my mother's fancy when I came out, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so, so you have to have a tougher skin, and I think Will showed just that what he was made of. That he did it to become a hero.
Hmm.
To who? I don't want to say, but she was probably sitting down on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so it's done, it's gone, and it's over. And apparently, the new comedy special or the new comedy show that's out is quite hilarious, and he does take quite a how should I say, not a rebuttal, but you know, something about why would Will do that to me or something of that nature. But I'm anxious to see that because
Oh, you're talking about the Chris Rock special.
yeah, and apparently he just takes a piece of meat out of Will, and and so be it. You know, he deserves it. And if you can't, if you can't take it, if you, who said this? Truman, I think President Truman said this. If you can't take the heat, get the hell out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know. So let's leave it at that.
It's for those of you that are maybe not in tune with that, it's playing on Netflix right now.
It is.
It is.
Oh wow!
Do you
I'm
have
glad you mentioned.
Netflix?
Yeah, I do so.
Yes, it's
Yes.
on.
Oh, great. Well, that's something I'm going to have to watch after we finish our little talk over here, and yeah, that'll be a good Sunday night watch for me.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great.
So, Don, I should have mentioned this earlier. Happy belated birthday, sir.
Oh well, thank you. March the 2nd every year. Isn't that amazing? It falls on the same day of every year.
I can't figure it out.
The same day, but different days.
At least
Yeah.
89 years young and still
Yes.
going strong.
And still going strong. Thank the good Lord. Yes.
You're
Yes, that's amazing.
you're still performing, I assume.
Still performing. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. You know, I think that's what keeps me young. Is just that I love to get out. I love doing the show. I love interacting with people. I love interacting with the audience, and it gives me. I hope it gives me as much pleasure as I hope I give people that are watching and listening, because I think it's a hoot. I think it's a hoot. There's so much bad stuff that's happening in the world today that Jesus, if a person can't laugh a little bit, we're doomed. You know, my mother was the same way. She would laugh at. She would tell me stories of how things would happen to her, and she would slap her knee and laugh about it, because if you cried about it, or if you let it bother you or hindered your life forever after that had happened, uh, give up.
Yeah.
Give up. Don't let if you can't let it bother you. Things happen. SHIT happens only in different piles all the time.
This is an R-rated show, so you can swear all you want.
I say divorce, and this, my friends, is just cranberry juice and soda water.
Oh,
So
okay.
divorce, yeah.
Daj Bože. So, Don, can you remember your very first gig?
As Nestor Pister.
Yeah.
God, I had a band of my own. We played at a nightclub in Regina for years and years and years. I think we hold the record for the longest stint at a nightclub, which is almost 5 years. And there was another ethnic comedian, Les Pavlik, that was going around, and I decided one time, seeing as that I was familiar with the dialects and everything, because I could do an Irish dialect just as easy as I could do another one,
Mm-hmm.
talking about it. So I decided what I would do to break up the monotony was bring in this character called Nestor Pister.
Mm-hmm.
And that occurred uh, 50 years ago.
Aye.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
And I brought him in. I brought this character in on weekends for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Nestor did a 10 to 15 minute stint.
Yeah.
And it was just it was more or less a breakup of my routine of singing all the time, because we did 6 nights a week for almost 5 years at one club.
Really?
And yeah,
Wow.
really. And the longevity of my stay there was phenomenal, because especially in one room. I remember when we first started there, they had one room and the kitchen was off to one side of the room, and it was a kind of a dine and dance. They had a dance floor about the size of a postage stamp.
Okay.
And being on stage, you could watch all the moves,
Yeah.
and the kitchen was off to the one side, and it seated about. When I started, it seated maybe 80 to 90 people. Well, we became so popular that they extended the room, took out the kitchen, dug a hole to the east of the place that we were in the basement, to put in a new kitchen so that it accommodate more people.
Yeah.
And every night, starting on Monday, if you weren't there at 7:30, waiting up the stairs to get into the room, it was a little difficult to get into that room. That's how popular the room was.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I remember the drinks were 87 cents. That was for a highball or a beer.
Yeah.
87 cents. And we did remarkably well. It was just, the trio that I had. I had a cat on the organ, Hammond organ, and bass and drums, and that was our musical trio that we called it. And we had one speaker above the stage that projected everything that happened, and it was just a hell of a rewarding gig. Let me put it that way. And then Sundays we would do private parties. They would book us to do a birthday or a bar mitzvah or whatever the hell happened. And we would also perform there maybe 1 or 2 Sundays a month for a private party. So it was a very popular spot, but it was fun. And I remember specifically that every night, in order to bring the people closer to you, we would have a little sing-along.
Okay.
And we had a little sing-along sheets, and about 9:30 or 10 o'clock, when they were a little oiled, when they were a little oiled, we would introduce the sing-along. So it was just a hoot. It was a hootenanny. Yeah.
Now, okay, so how did Nestor get in?
Well, as I said, Nestor got in. I introduced him on weekends as a 15-minute break from me just singing, getting up and singing.
Mm-hmm.
And I introduced him as and it caught on. It caught on because on the weekends, hey, when is Nestor coming on? You know, when
Mm-hmm.
is Nestor? I have the same garb. I haven't changed the garb, which is an old Air Force coat and the conductor's hat. And I haven't changed the garb, but I had a shopping bag. That's all that I had. And I'd walk on stage with the shopping bag and dressed as Nestor, and do a few stories, and cut it down to 15 minutes, and that would be it. And then we'd take a break, and then we'd come back and sing and play dance music and have them cuddle up to each other.
So you started it out musically.
Oh yes, yes. Well, I tell you the truth. I started out musically. My brother Eli, God rest his soul, came home one evening, and he had a C melody sax in a case that he brought home because he loved jazz and he loved saxophone music,
Mm-hmm.
and he brought this thing home, and he tried to play it, and whoa, pity the ears that had to listen to that because it it was just a squawk.
Yeah.
So me being, you know, the type of person I said, give me that damn thing. I picked up the sax, the C melody sax, and at the time, the most popular song on the radio on the hit was "Give Me 5 minutes more, only 5 minutes more. Give me 5 minutes more of your time." Do you remember that song?
Yes.
Okay. And the other one, "A rose must remain with the sun and the rain, or its private promise won't come true. To each his own, you are my own, and my own is you." Well, hand to God, I picked up the sax. And the first song I played, without even knowing what a saxophone felt like, it was "Give Me 5 minutes more."
Yeah.
And I played it.
You're
Just
kidding.
by hand to God, it just came to me all of a sudden. My fingers found out where the keys were, and that was it. That was it. So I started with the C melody sax. I love tenor sax. Coleman Hawkins is my. If you ever listen to his music, and he
Is
probably
that jazz?
jazz, yeah,
I like
jazz.
jazz.
I was jazz orientated,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and uh, and I love the tenor sax. So my dad, he was a trumpet player, played the
Okay.
cornet, and he played all the Romanian, Ukrainian, Hungarian weddings with Albert Laszlo on violin, uh, Steve Young on accordion. I forget who the drummer was, and my dad was the trumpet player, and they would play all these ethnic weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't one weekend where my dad didn't play. I don't know for how many years, because there was always some big wedding going on,
Yeah.
you know. And he played for years and years and years and years and years, playing these weddings. And he got me to try to play the violin. Well, a violinist I was not.
Mm-hmm.
I could do it. I could play. But he had Albert Laszlo, a Hungarian violin player who was a master magician on the violin. He went to teach me, and he said, "Well, Don, you're doing okay and you're not doing okay." Wink, wink, wink. So I kind of got the, I kind of got the idea that maybe this wasn't the instrument way. Well, when
Yeah.
I pick up the sax and I played that 5 minutes more, like I said, this is no lie. I played that song when I put that thing to my mouth. He knew that I loved the tenor sax, and he went and got me a Martin. He bought me a Martin saxophone, and I remember that Martin tenor saxophone. And I remember at that time it was over $200, and I loved that instrument. And that's how I started. I started with the tenor sax. I joined the Regina Lions Junior Band. When you join the Regina Lions Junior Band, they put you in the B band first. So I went to the B band, and Mossing was his name. The band leader, whose name was Mossing. And I remember him putting a march music, sheet march music in front of me. And
Mm-hmm.
he said, oh. And I said, what song is that? And he said, dum da 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 da. Oh, I said, oh yeah, I know that. Well, forget about the music. Forget about the notes. I played the song. So I'd hear it, I'd play it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big mistake on my part too at times, because I relied on my ear rather than relying on the music that was in front of you. Do you get my drift?
Yes, and I can
I,
relate too.
yeah, I'd hear a song and I'd play it. And then we had what we called the hobby band in Regina. And we started out playing. I was 16 years old, I think, when we first played our dance at Regina Beach Pavilion. And Regina Beach was a kind of a little resort, about 40 miles out of Regina on Long Lake. And we played there. And that was my first dance gig that I played tenor sax. And that's how I started playing tenor sax.
Do you remember how much you made for that gig?
I think we made about $12 a member. I think there was five of us. There was Hugh Brooker on piano, who was our leader. There was Boyce McLean on trombone and bass, and Donnie Young on drums, Paul Schwann and Bob McGinnis on trumpets, God rest their souls, and myself on tenor sax.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to play fantastic solo on Stars Fell on Alabama, da da la da da dee da, diddly da dee da, dee da 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 dee dee da da. And I had about a 40-bar solo on that thing. And we were really popular. And then the hobby band went into a bigger band at the Trinon Ballroom, where there was 28 instruments. We had 28 players in the hobby band.
Wow.
And we were a piss-ass dance band. Let me tell you that, man. We were heavy danger. Heavy danger.
Heavy danger.
We would fill that Trinon Ballroom, 350 people every weekend.
And I'm sorry if you said this, I don't recall. Where was this?
The Trinon Ballroom in Regina.
In Regina, okay.
Yeah. And Regina Beach was a little resort about 40 miles west of Regina.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the start. And my musical career started with the violin, boop, 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 which I didn't, when I got the wink, wink from Albert Laszlo, I knew the gig was up. Then I went to the saxophone, and then from the saxophone I sang a few songs, and then from the sax I went to Toronto and I played at Ray Purdy's Hall, at some jazz concerts at Ray Purdy's Hall, and then from that I don't know why, but I got a job at the Royal York Hotel as a bellhop porter. I put the sax away, and I started singing.
Mm.
Not professionally, but amateurly. And I used to go to some of these amateur singing nights that they used to have in Toronto. and sang a few songs, and that's when I started singing, and didn't play the sax anymore. Huh. As a
So,
matter of fact, go ahead.
no formal training whatsoever.
No, no,
Nothing.
never took a music lesson. No,
Or voice.
or voice lesson. No,
Okay.
no. And I rue the, I don't rue the fact that I didn't, but I always said to myself, why didn't you take? Well, I did learn how to read music,
Hmm.
you know, because when it was put in front of me, and I would go note by note, I would realize that this over here meant A, and this over here meant a B, and this was A plus, and this was a B minus, B minus. So I did learn to read music, but simply because when I was playing it, I would follow the chart and then memorize the notes corresponding to what I was playing. So
Okay.
I learned it ass backwards.
Hmm.
Instead of learning the music first, I learned the song first and then the music that pertained to the song.
That was the same thing with me. I'm a drummer,
Mm-hmm.
and starting out in the school band in junior high, I believe, grade 7. Um, I was a natural talent. I
There
had
you
no
go.
formal training. My dad was a drummer. I
Oh,
come from
great.
a musical family. My mom sang, dad was a drummer, aunt sang, Guido played fiddle. Um, anyway, in band class, uh, I got accepted in percussion.
Uh-huh.
And sorry,
Yeah, I'm disagreeing with you. Yeah, go ahead.
and so the school couldn't afford a drum kit, so my dad gave me his to bring
Ah,
in,
okay.
which was a 1947 Ludwig jazz kit.
Aha, the Ludwig. Yeah.
Very nice. And so I remember the first day the instructor came in and started handing out to the different sections sheet music.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't read music. I didn't know any of that. So, but he got to know me, and he got to know that I played by ear. So
Yeah.
what he would do is we would tackle one song, and that might take us a week for the whole band, the whole arrangement to get it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so on day one, he would come over to me on the kit, and he would just simply show me what to play just once.
And you'd have it.
And
Yeah.
then I'd have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, you and me come from the same, shall we say, musical background.
Yes,
Played by ear, Sam.
play
Yeah.
it by ear,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, there were
Uh,
a lot of musicians like that. Louis Armstrong never knew a note, until he started going. But there were so many great musicians that just picked up a horn or a sax or whatever and
mhm.
played it, improvised, played it. That's why jazz is so beautiful to me, or Dixieland or whatever, because it was just pick it up, play it, get on with it, play it, listen to the beat, get on with it, play the note.
Mhm.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So he started out musically.
Hmm.
Then, how did that evolve into going into full time comedy?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me that question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have two cousins, brothers. God rest their souls, are no longer with us, but Lee Purcell and Don Purcell. And they had a mortgage company in Vancouver. They had a mortgage company in Prince George, British Columbia, and a mortgage company in Calgary. And they also wanted to open a mortgage company in Edmonton. Now, going back from music, I went into finance.
Mm-hmm.
I went into I went into household in Toronto. I went into household finance to borrow some money to buy a car.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
The next thing I knew, they hired me.
Oh.
So I started into legitimate business with household finance.
Yeah.
And from there, I was transferred from Toronto to Guelph to all little different places because I was I was a kind of a very good at collecting because I would never use threats. I would never use innuendos. I would just kind of cajole with the people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and kind of, you know, Jesus, help me out here. Never mind them help me, but help me out here, you know, because I got to get some results. So I got pretty good at that. And I went, my last gig at Household Finance in the East was Toronto, and they transferred me to Regina, which is my hometown. And I would get a stack of collection things about this thick. And I get it on a Monday, and my manager's name was Larry Porter. And I said, "See you, Larry." And I'd go in and grab the stack of things that I had to take care of, and never report back until the evening. And just I think our collection thing was at it was a high. We had a high degree of unpaid bills and uncollectible bills. But I got to the point where I kind of got it all together,
Mm-hmm.
and then another finance company heard about my exploits and contacted me to see if I would go work for them, because they used to give me bus tickets at Household Finance in order for me to go from one place to the other to do the collections for them.
By bus?
Well, yeah, by bus. Anyway, it didn't matter to me because I had my own little regular way that I do things.
Mm-hmm.
And they offered the other finance company offered me a hell of a deal where I had a car and I traveled, and so I went with them. So I had finally built up a financial portfolio. Yeah. So that's what happened. And then, as I stated before, my cousin Lee and my cousin Donnie. My cousin Lee was the primary principal of the collection company. His brother Donnie ran the show in Prince George. Another chap ran the office in Calgary. My cousin Lee came home for a wedding and talked me into running the office in Edmonton.
Ah.
Okay?
You wouldn't
So
be
now,
talking about Midtown Securities, would you?
yeah, how did you know?
Because it's on one of your albums.
Yeah. So, okay. Now, my cousin Donnie, who was living in Regina at the time that I was performing, knew that I did this character, Nestor Pister.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, Prince George had a thing called snow golf.
Yeah.
and that's my first album. And you golfed in the snow. You had a big purple ball, and you could use any sort of a piece of wood or anything that could propel this ball through the snow or on top of the snow or whatever the thing might be. And it was snow golf. It was called snow golf. Okay, so I'm in Edmonton, and in Prince George, which was the inaugural place that they started the snow golf. It was such a big hit that they decided to bring in a well-known comic or TV or movie personality to MC and do a bit shtick for their snow golf banquet.
Mm-hmm.
The person that they hired was Artie Johnson.
Oh.
Now it's coming snow golf time. Artie Johnson was taken into the hospital for a kidney stone operation, emergency kidney stone operation. They had nobody to fill his shoes.
Oh, boy.
My cousin Donnie remembers from a few years back in Regina that I did this shtick. And he phoned me, got me in charge of the radio station manager that promoted the snow golf, told them about me, and they called me Don Prentice, and they called me, asked me if I would do the show. And I said, well, I haven't done Nestor Pister for a couple of years. He says, please, he says, you know, we're in a bind. You know, Artie Johnson's supposed to be here. We're in a bind, and we need somebody. You know, can you come and do it? They offered me a great price and a trip for me and my wife and my family to Hawaii. Well, how the hell can you turn that down?
Wow.
You know, so I went to, and why I had this little tape recorder called Audiotronic box. It was a tape recorder and a kind of a little PA system built within itself. It had a dual purpose. You could use it as a kind of a loud, you know, speaker, or you could use it as a recorder. I took a 90-minute Phillips tape. I plugged it in, plugged the machine into the back of a speaker, asked the person that was doing the sound and everything if they would hit the record button on this 90-minute Phillips tape to tape the show.
Mm-hmm.
It went over gangbusters. That was my first record.
The snow golf one, yeah, I have it.
The snow golf. That was my first record.
Yeah.
And from there, you know, talk about talking in, you know, falling into a barrel of shit and coming up with a Hershey bar in your mouth. That that was the happening. And
yeah.
Nestor Pister, yeah, that's how Nestor Pister. And then from one album to two albums to 3 to 4 to 5, and then that's how it evolved.
How many albums in total, Don?
Well, you have it on my thing. I got I think 7 albums because I did one with Charlie Parkinson too, Wild Wild West. So with that was 7 albums altogether.
I checked on
my website.
No. I know you have an iPhone because we were talking about that earlier, but I subscribe to Apple Music.
Yeah.
Do you?
I have it. Yeah.
Okay. So I knew this podcast was coming up, and all of my Nestor Pister albums had either been worn out or broken or whatever, and I was wanting to replace them with CDs.
Uh-huh.
So I went on to Apple Music and I typed in Nestor Pister, and a picture came up And I figured, oh, okay, I'm in luck. So I clicked on it. Nope. They don't have any of your stuff online. Not
Did he
not
leave it? Yeah.
not
Yeah,
in
go
not
ahead.
in Apple Music anyway.
Hmm.
So, do you happen to know, is there a website or something where people can buy your merchandise?
Well, there was Apple Music did carry it, but the Sunshine Records, uh, uh, I signed with them,
Which is based
uh,
in Winnipeg.
which was based in Winnipeg. I don't
Yeah.
know if they're still. I don't know if they're still there or not. But he kind of wasn't shy on now whether he continued with that or not, because I did start getting royalties, but then all of a sudden they stopped, and you know, in this day and age, I just didn't pursue it any longer. So I still have maybe one or two CDs, but I do have I think he still has the mixes of them, but I haven't because CDs now. Nobody buys them anymore.
No,
You know, cassettes, nobody buys them anymore.
no.
Uh, so I'm saying to myself, do I really want to invest in buying jackets and, doing the artwork and something like that for something that's almost obsolete?
Hmm.
But you can still hear some of my stuff is still on YouTube, you know, and that's about where you can hear them unless somebody wants to. I think I got. Let me see. I think I got about 6 cassettes left,
Hmm.
but if somebody wants to offer me an exorbitant price for them, like $1.49 will do it. But don't forget that went from the 8-track to cassettes, from vinyl to 8-track to cassettes to CD.
8
And I still,
tracks. That's
yeah,
what I had. That's what I
I,
had was 8 tracks.
you know what? I still have some vinyl.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. I have about 100 vinyl, and which is and vinyl apparently is coming back.
Yes, it is.
And but people have to have the thing to play with. But vinyl is coming back, and some of the best sounds. Never mind about comic or comedy, but some of the best sounds in jazz to listen to
On
is
vinyl.
not is on vinyl,
Yeah.
because you never get that. And I have so many albums of Sinatra and Sarah Vaughan and Tony Bennett and Johnny Mathis and all these things on vinyl. I got a little vinyl player, and the sound is great. So I do have some vinyl,
Hmm.
and I'm just waiting for the time where people that have access to playing vinyl come around and put them on the website and see what happens.
Uh, just so happens a very good friend of mine, that's one of the things that he does as his second job. He he does analog to video to digital conversion.
Mm-hmm.
He started out doing home movies, VHS, 8 millimeter, even film, actual rolls of film.
Mm-hmm.
But he does get calls for people looking to transfer old LPs and cassettes onto either CD, or what's more popular now is I've got one here. That's a
Yeah.
little thumb drive.
Yeah.
You just plug that into your computer,
And there you go.
and there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are interested in doing that for your own personal use or whatever, just shoot me an email. We can arrange something.
Yeah, I will do that. I will do that because those little things can hold a lot of crap on them, can't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's and if he does that type of work, then you and I will talk a little
Sure,
later on. Yes, sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've interviewed comedians before,
Mm-hmm.
and one question that I always like to ask is it's kind of a two-part question. Number one, what is your process for writing? And number two, what is your best source of material?
People are the best source of material. People and their antics, things that I saw in the past, or things that happened to me. What my mother or dad would say, or what one of my uncles would say, or what one of my cousins would say. I remember coming home one night from a singing gig, and uh, I was a little, you know, spent.
Mm-hmm.
So I was laying in bed, and I had to drive my mother to their farm, which was around Cable, Saskatchewan, because it was near harvest time. And uh, I was supposed to drive, and we were supposed to leave, I think, about 7 o'clock in the morning. It was only 60 miles to the farm. And I was in my bed, well, not fast asleep, because when you're half loop, you never have a sound sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about any people who don't drink or anything, but if I got a little tipsy, I never had a good sleep. I would, kind of just roll around.
Yeah.
And my dad would always knock on my bedroom door. He always respected my privacy. So I hear this knock on the door. I said, "Yeah, Donnie, yeah, come in, come in." He took one look at me, and he says, "Uh huh." And I open my eyes, and I see my dad waving his finger at me and my mom behind him.
Mm.
Okay? And he shook his finger at me and says, "Ah, Donnie, Donnie, Donnie. I see you got that overhang." And my mother's behind him. And she always would slap her knee when she thought something was funny.
Mm-hmm.
She slapped her knee and she says, "No, no, Fred. Is not call it overhang. It's call it hanging over."
Hanging over.
So you, so people, you get the comedy from people, and you get the comedy from things that you hear. Naturally, I never knew a comedian who didn't steal a line, so you steal a line every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this truthfully because I'm not lying to anybody, but there's a lot of, but I improvise, and I maybe turn it around and do it to fit my styling,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So you wonder where I get my comedy from, and writing if I hear something, but mostly I do my comedy from association.
How do you
If I
mean?
do, well, if somebody says something, I would associate it with a joke.
Oh,
So
okay.
I so
Yeah.
so I would put those two things together, you
Yeah.
know. So, and that's how I base a lot of my show on, is I never have a set beginning and a set ending, because I always end, and I was the first one to do that. And Dr. Talk, I don't know how many people have copied my ending, because I know I was the first one to sign off my show with, "I see trees of green, red roses too, they all bloom for me and for you. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world." So that'd be a beginning, and that was the end. I end off with that show, and I have a fantastic. I've always had fantastic keyboard players behind me,
Mhm.
or bands behind me, and I'd have a beginning and an ending. But what happens in between is strictly improvisation and association.
Even on the albums?
Well, yeah, on most of the albums, yeah. There was
So,
none of those albums were scripted. Are you kidding me? No,
wow.
no. I've never done a scripted. I've never done a scripted show. I might have one or two little things that I wanted to, a story that I wanted to tell,
Hmm.
because maybe it was a newer story or something, that, but never scripted from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So, no, so it's all improvisation, and because you get some people in the audience that give you openings for some lines that are just so hilarious that you can't pass them up.
Um, did you ever play the Ukrainian festival in Dauphin?
I played Dauphin quite a few times. I never played their festival, but I played. Uh, one of them might have been a festival, but I think I played Dauphin about I would say a good 7 times,
Oh, really?
and always had a packed audience. Yeah, always had a packed audience.
That's
See,
where I was born.
Dauphin was noted for the Ukrainian
Community.
community,
Yeah.
and so was Yorkton, Saskatchewan,
Yep.
and it took me a little while to break into Dauphin, but once I was there and once I started doing the shows, it was just like magic. But some of my most some of my best fans, or best people, I would say my fans, are Ukrainian heritage.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
know,
me, for example.
and I love about that is you can laugh at yourself. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't mean to be derogatory in anything that I say or anything, but uh, what I get satisfaction out of is how much they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then you say about material. Uh, Sometimes I put new material, and then I get off the stage after a couple hours, which is my show usually is a couple hours or more, and I have some old Bob or some Moshe saying, "How come you didn't tell that joke about choo choo train? Or how come you didn't tell this one?" And you know, so it's never ending, and it's never ending because the crowd that I have now is such a mixed bag. They go from 18 to 85 or 90
Yep.
people that you get to the show, because through evolution and through them listening, the young kids at the time that I became popular listened to their parents' records, and they had the records, and then their kids listened to the records, and their kids listened to the records, and it's just a kind of a full circle.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's surprising. It's surprising because I do a show and I figure, well, there's going to be a lot of old fogies here tonight, Nestor. And it's surprising how many young people are there. Really, it is. It really is, and they get as big a kick out of it as the older people. So it's just an ongoing thing. Somebody wanted to ask me. I remember. When I first became popular, I had a radio announcer ask me, "Well, Nestor, how long do you think this could go on?" And I says, "Well, to tell you the truth, I'll use the name Fred." I said, "Well, to tell you the truth, Fred, when people stop laughing, then I'm dead. But as
Mm-hmm.
long as people want to laugh, I'll be performing."
Yeah.
And it's been proven.
Have you ever had a night on stage where that connection with the audience just wasn't there? Almost like you kind of bombed?
I'm trying to think. No, not really.
I didn't think so.
No, not really. Because one of the attributes of a comedian is being able to read your audience,
Mm-hmm.
and if you find that something doesn't work, if this doesn't work, then you go on to something else. Maybe that'll work. So, not really. I've had. I'll tell you what though. I've come off of the stage many a night and saying, "Boy, did I stink that son of a bitch thing up." I thought I did,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody else did. So I was my worst own critic at times. But no, we find a way. I try to find a way where I can see. I like to get the people involved. So when you get people involved, they have to say that. But it emanates from the stage. It
Mm-hmm.
emanates from me as a person.
Yeah.
I have to go in character. Okay. When I go on stage, I put on this hat. I become a Nestor Pister.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who I am for the duration I'm up there. I don't even think of Don Ast or Peter Mihaljevic or Conor McDavid or Heifel Jekyll or Mr. Truman or Donald Trump. I'm Nestor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Nestor, and I carry that through. So I stay true to the character when I'm up there. So maybe that's one of the reasons that I've really never experienced a real bad, other than myself thinking that I didn't do a good show.
Well, they always say you're your own worst critic, right?
Yes, of course, yes.
Let me kind of switch gears on you here for a second, Don. As an artist, you mentioned that a lot of your material can be found on YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, back, I want to say around 2000, 2001, there was a service, an internet service called Napster.
Napster?
Yeah, does that ring a bell?
It doesn't. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, what it was, it's a website, but it's a search engine where you can look for any song, any album that you could possibly imagine. You search for it, and then what it does is it gives you a list of results of people that have that album that you're looking for.
Okay, Napster.
Now, the people that are at...
I'm going to make mental note.
They're not around anymore.
Oh, cross it up.
No.
It up.
That was huge news because people were downloading copywritten material.
Yeah.
Artists were complaining.
Of course.
So,
Of course, yeah.
There's a hard rock band by the name of Metallica.
Yeah.
Okay, they were one of the first to really make a stink about this. If I'm not mistaken, I think they actually sued a guy over downloading illegal material off of Napster. Napster was constantly getting sued.
Of course.
And they had to shut down. And then finally, Apple Music came around and Spotify and services like that. Now, with your material being on YouTube, rub you the wrong way that people are getting your material for free?
No, not really. I, I haven't been one where uh, let me put it. I haven't been one where I've let the whole thing overtake me. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
I'm not at the point, or I've never been at the point where I said, well, I'm going to let this really bother me, or let this overtake me, or let it overtake. Christ, if they can listen to a joke or a song that's on YouTube, God bless them. You know, uh, it's I'm happy with what I've done,
Mm.
and the and what has evolved doing the thing. So no, there's a lot of artists that really get uptight about it, and we have a service that collects for us, and they keep an eye on it because they keep track of it. And every now and then I heard from the service, that, well, I get $1.20 to
Mm.
somebody. Sometimes $1.49
Uh, plus GST.
plus GST. So you go to the point where, damn it, it's free speech, right? In the first place,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I listened to the drunk comic. What's his name? What the hell's his name? He got a beard, a white beard. What's his name?
Foster Brooks.
Foster Brooks.
Yeah.
And I listened to one of it, and I said to myself, "Self, he's doing all your shit. He's doing almost one of your albums. You know, went ice fishing, brought home 40 pounds of ice. Wife died, drowned in the kitchen trying to cook it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nail on the one side of the house, throw another nail away, pound another nail, throw another. I say, why you throw those nails away for, stupid? It's because they're pointing the wrong way. I said, crazy, that's for the other side of the house.
Yeah.
So he did the whole shit of one of my albums. So
Really?
what am I? Yeah. So what am I going to do? Am I going to sue the guy? No. Ah,
That's unbelievable.
Let it lie.
I
Let it lie.
I don't know if that was me. I think I would be upset.
Well, where does it get you?
I know, but I think artists have a mutual respect for one another, for what they do in their craft, and to plagiarize another comedian, it doesn't sit well with me. It just doesn't.
Well, no, but like I said before, every comic steals a line or steals a joke that they've heard or something, and even on the roasts, on the Dean Martin roast and things like that, they're old stories that I've heard for years and years and years, and people are still telling them. So how can you put a copyright on that?
Mm-hmm.
How in the hell can you copyright a joke when, if you tell it in your own inimitable way, how are you play? You say, well, they're plagiarizing it, but it's like it goes into like an old song. All of a sudden you have to pay royalties on it, but it gets so old and it's there that anybody could do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear a joke. The joke was told in 1822, and it's still going around today. How can you say you're going to plagiarize that goddamn joke?
Yeah.
There's just no way of doing it.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're going to get all excited about that, then you're going to get all upset about that, then I don't know. I think you're getting upset about something you really can't do too much about. Because as long as people are, you know, people sing songs. I mean, does Tony Bennett get pissed off because somebody sings San Francisco better than he does?
Yeah.
Probably I sing it better than he ever did, but should he get pissed off doing that? So it's there. It's there. These things are there for people. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're there for the pleasure that you give people doing it. So if you're going to get uptight about somebody doing one of your jokes, where's it going to get you? To what point are you going to, and you know, people were laughing, and I say, well, isn't that great? You know, he's doing one of my jokes just the same as Tony Bennett says Jesus. He's doing one of my songs. Flattery is the, you know, impersonation is a form of flattery in a way. So,
well, you wouldn't believe those of us on YouTube that are, well, they call us creators on YouTube, the ones that post content. You wouldn't believe what we go through when we're trying to do original, our own thing online. Like, this talk show is mine. It's my show. It's my rules. I don't have to abide by time constraints or cursing or anything like that. But YouTube monitors, and they have a system in place that will scan uploads to make sure that you haven't included music, copywritten music.
Unless it's public domain.
Unless it's public domain, that's right.
It's public domain. They can't. You know. Can I interject here for a
Yes.
Minute? If I do a parody on a song, okay, and I say go to a radio station, okay, and do it, and it's not public domain, I could do it on the radio. But if I cut a record of it, or a tape, or a cassette, then I'm in deep doggy doo.
Yes.
But just to perform it, I can't do anything.
No, you're right. You're right. But YouTube is very strict about watching for copywritten material showing up in videos. I've even seen, like, when I first started getting into YouTube, there was a few guys that I started following. These guys have
Can you excuse me just a minute?
Sure.
There's a little noise I got to take care of, okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Yes. Folks, if you're still watching, please like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. It's the subscriptions that help us YouTube creators get our videos seen by more people. That's the way YouTube explained it to me when I questioned them about it. So if you're watching, hitting the subscribe button's not going to hurt you. It's not going to be sending you spam or anything like that. All it does is when I go live, it sends you an email. And it lets you know Dr. Talk is now live. Click on the link below, and it'll take you straight to the program. So, good news. Just last week, I got a congratulatory letter from YouTube, email, I should say, not letter. Nobody writes letters anymore, right? that I reached over 1,000 subscribers. Yay me. The next goal is to get 4,000 watched hours of my content. So click like and help spread the word. Okay, Don, you're back.
Okay, it was just a Jehovah Witness. I told him I would convert next Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah. But that wasn't soon enough, so I gave him $1.50, and he thanked me, and just making fun. Yeah.
Of course. So, where did we leave off? YouTube.
You're not YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to close that thought by just saying, and I think I said it already, that be careful if you are out there creating YouTube videos. Don't put music in the video that you don't have the rights to unless it is public domain. YouTube does have a section of music beds and complete songs and sound effects that you can choose from to use in your videos.
Oh,
and
that's...
Yeah, and a lot of them are really good quality. If you've seen the intro to my show, the music bed in there is from YouTube.
Oh.
So...
Well, they're giving you a way in and a way out, really.
Yes.
Yeah, which is good. Well, that's good. They have to broaden these things too, Dr. Talk, because as I stated before, in this day of instant communication, I don't see how they can really forcefully, unless, like you say, they track it down. And if you did wrong, then maybe they're going to charge you whatever, and then pay the artist that royalty that he deserves. I do say that as an artist, or as a musician, or as a songwriter, or I think that you do deserve the credit, and you do deserve the money.
Mm.
Okay, and if you don't have the go ahead. Like my famous song was the Winestone Plowboy.
Yeah.
But I had to get permission to do that. I had to get permission not from Glenn Campbell,
the publisher,
from the publisher.
Yeah.
You know, and if I didn't get permission from the publisher, you know, that was a no-no. I could sing it on the radio, yeah, but making a record of it or selling it as a record or a cassette or as an 8-track, no. You have to get permission. I had to pay royalties.
Would you mind explaining that process to me, because I'm interested in that? When you contacted the publisher to ask permission to use Rhinestone Cowboy, what can you sort of walk me through how that worked?
Well, my manager at the time, Don Prentice, he contacted him, and they said, "Yeah, you could do the parody, but you have to pay royalties on it." So we paid royalties on it, and they gave us written permission to do the parody and to produce a record on it. And I think I paid them at the time 3 or 4 cents an airplay or whatever, and hell, it was on the hit parade for months.
3 or 4 cents
Airplay
per airplay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that encompasses any station that might play it.
Yeah.
Do you understand me?
Yeah.
So if there's 100 radio stations, 100 radio stations paid 4 cents.
Yes.
See, and that's where the publishers make their money.
Yeah.
And you know, beneath my bed I look for socks that's clean, because a part was broken, my ringer wash machine. Snowbird, you
Yeah.
know, I called it Cowbird. Now the writer of the song, oh Jesus, come on, Don, uh, from New Brunswick. What the heck's his name?
Anne Murray?
No, Anne Murray sang the song, but she didn't write it. A gentleman wrote it. He gave me permission to use it. Ah, Don, sure, Nestor, you could do that. But his publisher said, no, 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 no. Even though I got permission from the guy that wrote the song, his publisher owned it. He didn't own it anymore. Because as soon as he sold it or gave it to the publisher and they published it, then it became their little piece of meat.
Okay, so what happened? Did this song actually get recorded?
Snowbird?
Yeah.
Cowbird? No.
Cowbird.
No, didn't get recorded.
So
no.
It's never been heard.
Well, it's been heard when I do my live shows or anything, or.
Well,
or
yeah.
Yeah, but it's never been on the. It's never been
on the air.
On the air. Now I don't know, but I don't know by now. I should really check to see if it's in public domain by now.
Sure.
But then I'd be able to. Then I'd probably be able to record it if I so desired. But Boston rocks and Waggerbill blistered to my hand. Feel it just as hard as I could be. Johnny crashed my half-ton truck right into a tree. Son of a gun, what he do to me? So there's me and Johnny strategy, and so
any relation to Mrs.
Jopchishin?
Jopchishin, that's my favorite.
Yeah, I always get calls for that song. Oh, Mrs. Jopchishin, why you worry so much? You don't got no eyelids, yeah, okay.
So in terms of performing these days, Don, do you do like a lot of the comedians that I've interviewed so far, the big thing seems to be corporate gigs where they get hired by, a big company to do a dinner or a dance or whatever, and they hire a comedian to come on as an opener. Mm-hmm. Do you do any of that?
I do a lot of it, and I do a lot of fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
I do. You know what? As fate would have it, our legions, the Royal Canadian Legions,
yes,
they are in dire trouble. They're in big financial trouble because people that were soldiers, and that's all they allowed was military personnel. Mm-hmm. They've opened it up where anybody can join now.
Yeah.
But these people are no longer with us, so they don't have the clientele to come there to keep them afloat. So I've done a lot of fundraising for the Legions. I do a lot of corporate work, and I do a lot of crowd appreciation or customer appreciation work for people that want to hire me. Where they bring me in to do a show, and the people come in and they don't have to pay for the show or the food or anything, but just hire me to do a show for them. Mm-hmm. And that's been the trend now, because to tell you the truth, we were able to go into a club that sat 200 people or 150 people or 200 people and come away with big dollar. That just doesn't happen anymore. People just don't want to seem to take the chance of saying that, yeah, I'll give this comedian a couple thousand, mm-hmm. and hope like hell I break even at the door, or sell a lot of booze, but when you're doing fundraisers, it's kind of a different story, because we have a little thing that we do with them that states how they should present the show, whether they're going to have a dinner with the show, a dinner show, or just a show, and blah blah blah. And we have a little sort of thing that gives them an idea of what they can expect and what they can make, and what it's going to cost them, and it's worked out perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We have a little formula that we give them, and from all the shows that I've done with the Legion and so forth, they've made a. I'm always invited back. They made a good buck, but a lot of Legions won't take the chance, or they don't have the ability to do it because they don't have the personnel in place to be able to do this. Because I don't know, but the Legions I do, they always have a ladies, got it, ladies auxiliary.
Mm-hmm.
You got Nally, you got Sophie,
Olga.
you got Helen, you got Olga, and they can make cabbage rolls per hair and holopchi like going out of business. So they was come there, they give their service, and they buy some. The Legion buy the rice and the kapusta, and they make the cabbage rolls, and they make the per hair. So everything is boiled down to what you call cost effective.
Yes.
You know. So I say you could got that cost effective hell of a great supper. He give you perhe, cabbage rolls, kubasa, maybe some roast beef, some mashed barbuli, and things that, and you could keep that, $12 or below, and you charge at the door, and then you got your booze sales, and you got your 50-50 draw, and you got live or auction. Then you got your Legion, how you call it, those little tickets that they always have.
Raffle.
They make, or they can make as much money as I charge them for the show, or come very close
Mm-hmm.
to making the equivalent. So they're very happy. They get new people joining the Legion. So it's a double-edged sword for them. They make people happy. They make some money. They get new clientele. Everybody goes away happy, and a hell of a good time was had by all.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there's any Legions out there,
Looking to hire.
yeah,
We'll be posting Don's contact info on the screen in a little while.
that was it. Yeah.
Дай Боже. Don, I also wanted to ask you, the nature of the humor for Nestor Pister. Do you think that is ever a hindrance or a reason for pause for someone considering to hire a comedian for an event?
Well,
Because it's not, I wouldn't say dirty, but
No.
I'm gonna age myself here because we used to call it blue humor.
that's right. That's right. That's right. And let me put it this way: yes or no to that question.
Okay.
Yes or no? Because what you hear on TV, or you go to HBO or some of these other things, and you got these comics coming out, and they're using that F word 160 times in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because they use that F word
Yeah.
all the time. So, old comedian Red Fox
Yeah.
and
Richard
different
Pryor.
comedians, Richard Pryor. They always, they use shit that I wouldn't even dream of using,
Mm-hmm.
because Nestor can't get away with that.
Yeah.
Nestor is a bumpkin, old Middle European guy that likes to tell a few stories, and they might be a little risque at times, like Mrs. Obchishin, or whatever. But uh, it's a lovable kind of blue humor to
Yeah.
me. I don't know how it is to you, how you would describe it, but it's not something that maybe if I use in all of my shows, there's one joke that I use the F word because it's very apropos to use it, and that and it's one story. But other than that, I don't use it. I use son of a gun, damn to hell, you know, but never will use that F word to, you know.
But just so you know, in the introduction I gave you, I said childhood idol, Nestor Pister, because
Well,
when I was 8 years old, I got my very first Nestor Pister 8-track tape.
from your dad, I hope,
Mom and dad.
mom and dad.
And I listened to it so much that I memorized the entire thing.
Wow.
I even had the accent down perfect. And I used to perform it for family.
I'm going to sue you.
Yeah. 8 years old, Don. 8.
There you go. There you go. So you must have found something to your liking there, or it must have triggered something in your mind that this is you got to do this.
Yes. And it
And
was. Go ahead.
I'm sure it was appreciated by the people that you did it for.
Oh, it was a riot. It was a riot. My aunt and uncle. Are you in Sherwood Park, by the way?
No, I'm in Lewis Estates.
Oh, you know where Sherwood Park is.
I do.
Okay. They lived in Sherwood Park.
Oh, okay.
They came to Winnipeg one year for Christmas. They were staying at my Nan and Ziza's, and Nan hated the fact that I could verbatim repeat Nestor Pister jokes.
Uh-huh.
She didn't like that. She thought I was too young.
Oh, okay. Not the
So,
material, but you.
yes. So, my Uncle Morris, who's, I'm sure he's watching right now, so hi, Uncle Morris. Him and my Auntie Sonia, we went upstairs into one of the bedrooms with my mom, so there was the 4 of us, and I sat on the bed, and I just started telling Nestor jokes. Uncle Morris, the Mrs. Juptician joke,
Uh-huh.
he fell off the bed. Laughing so hard, he actually fell off the bed. So that's how far you and I go back without actually
Wow.
even knowing each other.
Well, isn't that wonderful that you were able to do it, and I appreciate that. I'm flattered that and you know, as an 8-year-old, that's quite a chore. That's quite a chore. That's quite a feather in your hat, so to speak. You
And
see, I'm not jealous. You know, good for you. Good
yes,
on you. Good on
but
you.
to be honest with you, at that age, some of the humor that I was repeating, like I said, verbatim with the accent and all, I didn't understand some things.
Yes, I know you couldn't. Yeah, yeah. It was
Um,
like over your head. Yeah, but you laugh. You hear people laughing. What's the natural thing that another person does? They laugh,
laugh.
right?
Yeah, it's
They
contagious.
laugh. Yeah, it's contagious. So when they say laughter is contagious, no truer words were ever spoken. But even though you didn't understand it, you were able to do it, and you thought it was funny because people thought it was funny.
Mm,
My daughter Jennifer used to get up on the hearth on the on the fireplace, on the hearth, on the brick hearth. Say, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is the little Nestor Pister show," and she used to do my stuff.
Oh.
And everybody thought it was hilarious. But hi, everybody, this is the little Nestor Pister show, and I thought that was so cute.
And she
But
was
I know,
how old?
oh God, maybe she was 4 or 5.
Okay.
But imagine, them catching on, not understanding what the hell they were saying,
Yeah.
but they thought it was funny because we thought it was funny, and laughter is contagious. So you laugh, I laugh, everybody laughs.
Yeah,
There
definitely.
Yeah.
So in terms of throughout a year for you, how much traveling do you do?
Well, in a year now, let's put it this way: I don't travel unless I want to, unless it's beneficial. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're doing a fundraiser, and say you're doing in Swan Lake, Manitoba, and I'm in Edmonton, Alberta. Now, if they got to fly me out, a piano player and myself, they got to fly me out to Winnipeg, okay? And then I got to get a rental and drive from Winnipeg to Swan Lake, and then a rental back and there, and then the flight back home. It can become quite exorbitant.
Sure.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So unless it works out profitable for both parties, then we don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So travel is constricted to the point where if the gig makes sense to everybody, I'll do it. If it doesn't, c'est la vie.
Mm-hmm.
So the way things are, and COVID took a big hunk out of everybody.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Every entertainer's pocket took
Yeah.
a huge amount. And we don't have any pension funds or anything like that. We don't have a corporation saying, okay, you give me $20 of your wages every week, and at the end of your career, 65 years old, let's see, you work for us, you make average $40,000 a year, so you're going to be entitled to 70% of that. No, you're going to get it for the rest of your life, $21,000. We don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a question that if it makes financial success, financial, what's the word I'm looking for? Financial sense for everybody, then we do it. So now you got COVID that whacked into that. You got uncertainties that are happening now. You got the world in a turmoil. You got people still thinking about COVID. You got this happening, that happening. So it's a kind of a give and take situation now.
Mm-hmm.
So if something good comes along, we do it. If it doesn't, then we don't. So when you say, how much traveling would I do now? It just depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to the guy up above to give us a break, so to speak. And it's too bad. It's too bad because there were times there that you could walk into a little town, of 300 or 400 people that had a real good pub or something. You could fill the joint. People came from miles around. Everybody went home happy. Everybody had a few debauches. Now, if you have one too many debauches, the PRMC get hold of you and give you tickets.
Yes.
So you got to watch it. You got designation driver.
Yeah.
Who's drink Coke, not sniff, but drink Coke.
Not sniff.
Not sniff. So there's so many factors that come into the picture now that it's just like a hit and miss situation, really. But I'm happy, and if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's nothing much you can do. Yeah, I mean, we're not making wheelbarrows or air fryers. We're not manufacturers. We're just entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
People don't need you like a bag of flour that they have to make better hair out of. They don't need you. But if they want to laugh, you'll accommodate them.
Yeah, sure.
Now that's a good analogy. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, the now see if I'm gonna remember this right. The Snow Golf album
Mm-hmm.
was followed by which album?
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the lineup was Nestor Pister for Prime Minister?
That was after Here We Go Again.
So third album.
I think that was the third album. Yeah. Yeah. Now you got me.
I
Why do
think
you give me these questions I can't remember? I'm 89 years old.
you wouldn't know it.
I got white hair. And no, I think Nestor Pistor for Prime Minister was the third album. Yeah. And you know what? I was on the Don Heron show. Charlie Parkinson, you remember him?
Yeah.
Charlie Parkinson, Don Heron show. And I was on with him every Thursday morning. And I came out with the Nestor Pister for Prime Minister album. Well, I'll tell you, Dr. Talk, the CBC had to send money back. The checks that they had with an address or something, they sent back. But the cash that was sent in, they gave away to charity, because we had hundreds of dollars come into the CBC Toronto station in support of Nestor Pister for Prime Minister.
So people were actually taking this seriously.
Well, I don't know if it was seriously, but they went along with the gag. Eh?
Okay.
And they would send money.
Yeah.
And I remember being nominated for a Juno Award, and I remember Prime Minister Trudeau having my Nestor Pister for Prime Minister button in his hand and said, Nestor, it's really not that easy to be Prime Minister.
So you met the man.
I met the man. The man. We had a nice chat.
I was just going to say, was it more of an exchange or just that?
No, we just had a nice overall conversation. You know? And he was, well, the man was a genius presenting himself.
Mm-hmm.
Just like his son is, to a point where sometimes or now most of the times it becomes a little ridiculous as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But Pierre had a way of projecting himself that he was kind of liked by people that he would talk to. He didn't talk down to people. He talked with the people. He was with the program at all times, as far as I can remember. His politics were his politics. Some I agreed with, some I don't. But who agrees with every politician?
Yeah.
You're a fool to, because they all have their own agenda. They're all to the point where they're saviors of all mankind.
Yeah.
Until they get into power, and then lust, and they all become to the point where it's me for myself and myself only. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a contagious thing. So you got to give them credit. They got the nuts, the balls to do it. But they all seem to turn a certain way, So is one better than the other? No, I wouldn't say so. Some have better things happening than others. Some you can applaud, some you can give the thumbs down to, but they're there. They have a job to do, and you got to respect them for that at least.
Yeah.
But corruption has a funny way of taking hold of people.
Oh, yeah.
When you have too much power,
Mm-hmm.
power is corrupt. Power can corrupt very, very easily. So give them a break, and if you don't like them, vote the bastards out. It's the only thing you could do. Is if you don't like, suffer for 4 years, and then vote them out,
Yeah.
because they're all full of promises. They're all full of promises.
Yeah.
And what are they? If you and I made those promises and reneged on them, we'd get our asses sued so fast
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to see the sunrise.
That's
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I also wanted to ask you this, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know. Are you aware of how far reaching the Nestor Pister character is, geographically speaking? Are we talking around the world? Or are we talking North America, South America? What?
Geez, I hear from, surprises me to how Nestor gets around to different places, like in the States. The Whinstone Plow is a thing, and how people take an album from Dallas, Texas, to someplace in Montana, or someplace in Montana takes an album. So I don't know how far-reaching it is, but I would imagine that there's probably a Nestor Pister album someplace in the globe, or more places than I think that they would be. Do you have any idea?
No, I don't. I would like to know, though. I
Yeah.
would like to know. It's a character that's been around for 50 years, right? 50?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 53. So I think it'd be great to know if there's somebody in. Well, hey, how about this? It'd be nice to know if there was somebody in the Ukraine that's heard of Nestor Pister.
There could be. There could be. After all, their head boss is a comedian, isn't he?
Yeah.
So whether is or not, I don't know. But like I said before, and amazes me, my biggest fans are of I shouldn't say, but I'd say the Ukraine people are some of my biggest fans,
hmm
and God bless them, because they can find it within themselves to see that I'm not subjecting to any ill humor or derogatory things about him. It just happens to be that at the time that Nestor started, there was less Pavlik. He had a metro thing, and the Ukrainian jokes were going around.
Didn't he
And
die not too long ago?
yeah, Les passed away. He passed away in the States. He was in Phoenix, I think, when he passed away. But see, he never he had a record out with a lot of parodies on it, but didn't get permission to use the stuff.
Oh, no.
So they had to thrash, I don't know how many albums, but they couldn't sell them because he was under the gun. Didn't get permission from the publishers to use the material,
Did he get
because
sued?
I think that the producers of the album were given a stern warning. Whether they were sued or not, I don't know, but they were told to get rid of them. So they had to eat a lot of product, I think.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, oh dear is right. Oh dear is right, and But that, as you stated before, the people on YouTube or the people getting upset because people are not getting paid the royalties that they think they deserve from doing it. But his was music related. You know, everything that he did musically, everything that he did a parody on, was he didn't get permission from the publishers to do it.
Mm.
And the producers of him, who I knew quite well, I don't want to mention any names because I don't want anything, bad said about them, but they should have known better. They should have known that you've got to get permission to do parodies, regardless of how funny they are. You could do them on radio, you could do them in the nightclubs, you could do them on live shows, but beware if you record it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was too bad. I really felt bad for him because.
How well did you know him?
I knew him quite well. He lived in Regina. He was born in a little town just outside of Yorkton, but I knew him quite well. I knew his brother too. His brother was a drummer, by the way, and so we got to converse quite a bit. And then we bump into each other on the road or passing by, like, two trains.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he was a good guy. But he got into trouble by calling himself a bohunk.
Oh dear. That I don't like that.
And then he was noted as bohunk humor.
Yeah.
I never experienced that. As a matter of fact, when the shit hit the fan with him, and there was an uproar about some of the Ukrainian people didn't like what was going on. I was performing at the Town and Country nightclub in Winnipeg, a beautiful, beautiful club. Well, you remember, like, Jimmy Janak, you remember Town and Country.
Yeah.
I used to do a show there a week at a time or 2 weeks at a time, 3 or 4 times a year. And I remember being performing there one week, and I saw this guy sitting at the bar. He was there Monday. Tuesday, same guy, sitting at the same seat in the bar. Wednesday, same guy, sitting at the same seat at the bar. Thursday, same. Friday, same. Saturday, same. So out of curiosity, I said, Jesus, you must be a hell of a fan. You've been here 6 nights in a row. Do you think that I'm that funny? He says, to tell you the truth, I'm with the Ukrainian some society, I forget when, and I was told to come here to see if there was anything derogatory you said about. And he said, I've been here 6 nights, and I got to fully endorse you. You didn't say anything that rubbed me the wrong way. So, what better, little signature on the bottom saying, okay.
Yeah.
Can you get, so I was very pleased with that. Whereas there was a big article of bohunk humor, and I don't know how he got it out, but a lot of people say things on the spur of the moment that again gets them into a hell of a lot of trouble after they say it.
Yeah.
And it's not that they say it in a malicious way, but they said it. And you see that happening so many times now with celebrities saying something. You saw it happen with the rant about the Jewish people and the black people and this and that, and somebody opens their trap and says something that they shouldn't say, or that they think is funny, or that they think really doesn't matter, but it does matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta watch. You gotta watch what you say, and whether he said that. I never did ask him if he said bohunk. I never did ask him that. But apparently, he must have,
Hmm.
because that was a kind of a. I wish I had kept that article, because it did say West Pavlik Metro and Nestor Pister, but it didn't mention me in any derogatory form in the article.
Does bohunk, do you take exception to that word?
Well, I kind of take exception to any word that is a derogatory nature, because my stories aren't. They're not a derog. I just tell a story.
Hmm.
But if you're talking about black people, American black people, and you use the N word, yeah, that's fucking derogatory. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know, or if you call an East Indian uh, RH, that's derogatory.
Hmm.
You know, or you know, so you just don't do those. You just don't do those things. So yeah, there are certain words that don't sit well with me. I'm watching Netflix and watching some of these British movies, and they say the C word so many times. Like
Oh,
sometimes
I
I say,
know.
"Oh wow, how in the hell? This is a movie." I think, how the hell did they get away with that
Yeah.
stuff? Because it kind of riles me to no point, because my humor isn't that way. You know,
Hmm.
my humor isn't that way. I remember doing the riverboat in Winnipeg, and I did the dinner show, and then they had the upstairs, the upper deck, just as a as a cocktail thing, and I went up there, and it must have been 70% African Americans,
Hmm.
and they kept asking me, "Hey, you know any black jokes? Do you know any black jokes? You know any black jokes?" I remember doing shows on Indian reservations. Hey, tell us an Indian joke. Tell us an Indian joke. So what does that tell you? That tells you that people want to laugh, maybe maybe at themselves, but want something funny that they can associate with who they are. Again, that's a kind of an association thing, right?
Yes.
So,
You, um, when we were talking earlier, not today, but as we were leading up to the podcast, um, you had seen one of my podcasts that I did with Big Daddy Taz.
yes, yes.
And also, there's another one there with a guy by the name of John Yunberg.
Didn't see that one. No,
He claimed he worked with you
he did.
here. Yeah, here in Winnipeg, I think.
As a musician.
No, he's a comedian.
Oh, he could have been one of the he could have been one of the you know one of the opening acts or something. Yeah, he probably could. Yeah,
And I
because I know.
asked,
Yes, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, because I know that I had a lot of upcoming comedians when I worked at the Comedy Oasis and things like that. They came on stage and you know, did a 5 or 10 minute stint. Some of the names I don't remember, but it could have very easily been, yeah, that he did work with me.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we were talking about. Oh, I asked him about his writing process, just as I asked you earlier. And excuse me, and then that led up to political correctness.
Uh-huh.
And I said, John, where do you stand on this whole PC thing? And he said, there's so many things that you're not allowed to say anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at comedy, look at Eddie Murphy, for example.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy had an album called Delirious. Pure filth. Pure filth the whole way through, but hilarious.
Uh-huh.
John said exactly what you said. People are willing to laugh at themselves. They enjoy laughing at themselves. So he says, I'm kind of fed up with the whole PC thing. Not that he's going to go on stage and start using the N word or the C word or derogatory racial statements. But he said comedy is there to make you laugh, man. And what was funny is still funny.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Like I told you, the joke that was told in 1822 is still funny in 2023.
Yeah.
If it's a good joke.
Yeah.
If it's a good song, you don't mind hearing that song over and over again.
Right.
Some of the jokes that I say or that I did or that I do and that I don't do at a certain show, and I get people coming up and saying, how come you didn't tell me this one? How come you didn't tell me? So they like those stories, just like you say you like Mrs. Jobchishin, you know.
Mm.
So they like those, so they don't mind hearing them over and over again. And really, I do change them around a little bit. You know, I do emphasize or, you know, maybe put a few new twists to it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in order to make it more interesting. Or if they heard it before, there's a little different twist that they didn't hear before, you know.
Okay.
So things that were funny are still funny to
Yeah.
this day.
Yeah.
You know, and people laughed at the damnedest things. You know, people still bust the gun at slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, people get hurt for Jesus. They get hurt. You know, but people laugh at it. You know, Charlie Chaplin, all these guys that did slapstick. Some of the stuff that said, "Oh, ow, ooh, ooh," but what do people laugh at?
Speaking of older comedians, is there any that stand out to you that may have influenced you or led up to a career in comedy?
Well, I love Jonathan Winters because he does different characters. Okay.
Yes.
So his characters remind me of the character that I do.
Mm-hmm.
But he throws himself into the character 100%.
Yeah.
So when he throws himself into the ship captain or whatever the hell he is, he does it 100%, and that's what makes it so enjoyable. So if I do a character, eh? This is my character, okay? When he puts on the garb or does all his different characters, he becomes that character. So then he becomes increasing it or hilariously funny. So if there was one person that I would say that I was more or less knitted close to, it would be him, because, the stuff that he does that I've heard maybe 100 times or more still knocks me to the floor laughing.
Yeah.
Because if it's funny, it's funny. If it's not funny, it's not funny. If it's crude, it's crude. Crudeness sometimes isn't very funny.
Do you go on YouTube at all, Don?
No.
You don't?
No.
Oh. There's so much on there to see in terms of, well, in this conversation, we're talking about past comics, but there's so many clips of Jonathan Winters on the Carson Show.
Oh, you mean, do I go on YouTube? I thought you meant me as, no, I misconstrued what you said. Yeah, I do. I do go watch YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Comedy. Yeah. I thought, do you go on YouTube? You should have said, because sometimes get little dense to the kapusta.
That's right.
Do you ever watch it, YouTube?
Yeah.
There's a difference. Do you go on? To go on means to go on. To watch is with the people over here.
That's right.
To go on, I was thinking you said, well, does he go on? No, but I watch.
So, have you come across any Jonathan Winters on YouTube?
Oh, of course. I look for him.
Yeah.
sometimes on the Johnny Carson show or things of that nature, you know.
I think
Yeah.
some of the best moments are the times when he was on with Robin Williams.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you got two zany. You got two completely people who are off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now you can't convince me that these two comedians aren't off the wall because
Mm-hmm.
they are. They are off the wall. They're complete lunatics. You know, who really know what the hell they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you not enjoy him and how can you not laugh at him? You know. Then you got the Red Foxes, you got the Richard Pryors, you got all these different other comedians that get away with crudeness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you get Bill Cosby, who was applauded for his clean comedy. Okay,
Yes.
but was an absolute degenerate man.
Yes.
So where do you draw the line? You got two different situations. You got a guy that's crude and remains crude, or you got a guy that said, I don't know. I say that Eddie Murphy should clean up his act. And he was always criticizing the dirty comics.
Yeah.
Never would say a nice thing about a comic that was maybe a little dirty or dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, these guys. He didn't like them at all because they were crude. But he was the god of clean comedy.
Yeah.
But
A wonderful
terrible.
storyteller, though, I have to say.
Oh, let me tell you, I didn't say that he wasn't.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he portrayed a crudeness that these other guys wouldn't even dream of portraying. So where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
You know, just because you think, so you never put yourself above over here. You don't have the ambitious thing that I want to become. I don't have it. I'm sorry. I'm not that ambitious. I'm happy with the accolades that I get now. And I never did have a dream of being on the top pinnacle, Maybe that's my problem. Maybe that's one of the things I should have strived, and maybe that's one of the things I should have pushed myself to do. But I was happy with what I was doing. I was
Mhm.
happy with the God-given talent that was given me, and I was happy with the people that I was making happy, and everything seemed to be going good. What more does a guy want?
Yeah.
What more does a guy want in life? And still to this day, I'm amazed that I do have the following that I do. And I'm amazed and profoundly thankful to all the fans out there. And I say this very sincerely. I'm amazed and profoundly thankful that I've made you laugh, and that I made, that you appreciate me. And thank you, and thank the good Lord for having me being able to do it, but never had that over the top ambition. I don't know why, but maybe that keeps me healthy. Maybe that keeps me going on in old age, and maybe because I'm content. Contentness means a lot to a person's soul. When a person is content and doesn't look for things that are going to make him a little more famous, or just, you know, be happy with what you have. Because if you look on the other side of the coin, or like they say, if you walked in his shoes for 100 miles, you would see the thing. But be happy with what you have. Don't, you know, don't wish bad to people that have more than you.
Mm-hmm.
Wish them more success.
Yeah.
You know, uh, but be happy with what you have, because there's so many people, you, me, your neighbor, my kid, my acquaintances, they have so much more than what other people are experiencing or that are going through, that why wouldn't you be happy with what you have?
Yeah.
Jesus, people out there, I'm looking. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking into the camera.
Yeah.
People out there, be happy with what you have. Be happy with, you know, that you're still above the grass, that you can still have a good meal, that you can, and most important, that you can still laugh. And when you laugh and you see humor in things, your life is going to be so much better. It really is. But be happy with what you have, because all you got to do is open up that front page of the newspaper or tune into the news, and damn, there's a lot of disaster out there. Yeah, a lot of disasters. That's like a woman who walked backwards into the airplane propeller. Disaster.
Yeah.
There's a joke there. There's a
Yeah.
joke there. Took you a while.
Took me a second.
Doctor Talk, it took you a while. I was being, I was being so sincere there that I got you sucked right in, didn't I?
Yes.
I
So, Don, tell me what does Don Ast do in his later years in life? What does he do for entertainment, for excitement?
I love going to clubs. I love listening to bands. I'll if there's a comedian in town that I like, I'll go see him. Right now, I'm shooting a movie. Did I tell you I'm in a movie? It's called it's with Studio 9 in Edmonton, and the movie's called Till Death. It's a paranormal movie about an elderly gentleman such as I who happened to lose his wife, and she comes back to haunt him and shows him no mercy. So we're shooting that movie. As a matter of fact, I think we're shooting the first part of the movie on the 16th, I think. Yeah.
Ah.
So I do that. Before I was with ACTRA, who so graciously gave me a life membership, and I was on their board, and so I was busy doing that. I love watching movies. I love movies, and I watch some of the worst movies anybody would ever want to see, just to see how bad they are.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever done that?
Yes.
I'd watch a movie and I say, Don, did you actually watch that piece of shit? Why did and I chastise myself for spending an hour and a half in front of the idiot tube watching crap like that.
Yeah.
But then after you get the satisfaction, well, at least I know how it ended.
Yeah.
It's like, I had a sister who would always read the end of a book before she read the beginning.
Oh.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I said, Helen, why would you read the end of it? She says, because if I know the end is good, I'll read the book. If it's no good, then I won't read it. Then there's some truth in there. So
I know people that do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
God, we're going on here, aren't we? But that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time.
Well, I wanted to ask, how's your health?
Look at me.
Va-va-voom.
89 years old. I used to go to the gym every day, 5 days a week until COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I would work out every day, pump iron, do some rowing, do my push-ups and my planks. I still do my push-ups and my planks.
Mm-hmm.
No, I feel great, really. I really thank the good Lord and touch wood. There's a piece of oak here. Where? Give me some wood. There's wood over here. Yeah. Oak. Yeah. So thank the good Lord, touch wood. Yes. My health's been good. And you know, when you, as I stated before, maybe because it's, I try to live as stress-free as I can. Maybe that's part of the longevity, and I owe it a lot to my genes, to my parents. My mother lived to be 90 years old. She died of an aneurysm. Her sisters all lived to be over 90. I had her younger sister, my Aunt Helen, God rest her soul, lived to be 101.
Wow.
So there's some longevity in my genes. My dad lived to be 87, died of prostate. So I have some longevity in my genes, I guess. And my wife's family is the same way. The ladies live to be a long age. But in our family, the women folk in our family lived a long age. The men folk in our family died relatively young. But you know why? They was drinking too much booze, too much horyuko. Because they had, there was no TV, there was just home brew and rich food, you know. Everything was made with cream chicken, mamaliga, holubchi, perehe, kubasa, homemade, you know. They would eat and drink and all died young. But the women all had lots of children,
Yeah.
worked their butts off, you know, worked their butts off, and all lived to be had a happy, long life.
And how long have you been married, Don?
48 hours. No, no. This year will be 56 years.
56 years.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many children do you have?
I have one, two, three. Two boys and a girl.
And their ages?
My son is, one son is 50, other son is 53, and my daughter is 40 some.
Oh, you were talking about going to the gym, but just before that, I wanted to ask you because you said you equate living a stress-free life. I deal with a lot of stress in my life, and I'm wondering, how do you do it?
Well, you treat it like a pail of shit. Excuse me, but you treat it like a pail of shit. You dump it. Simple as that. You dump it. You got a pail of shit, unless you want to attract flies, dump it.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get it out of your mind. Get it out of there. Just get it out of there.
Sometimes it's not that easy.
Sometimes it's not that easy. Watch a movie. Watch something that you like that takes your mind off it. Read a book. Just get your mind off. Get your mind off of it. And don't ever think of living in the past. Always think of living today and living in the future. Don't let the past overtake you. No matter what happened, no matter it was your fault, somebody else's fault, and especially if it was your fault, get rid of it. It's happened. Shit happens, and it happens in different piles. So just get rid of it. All you people out there that are watching this, and maybe there's 6 or I don't know, maybe there's 100, but all you people that got a little, get rid of it. Forget about the past, because you're never, ever going to change it. Don't hold grudges, because if you hold grudges, the only person you're just poisoning yourself. Don't hold grudges, because grudges don't get you anywhere. Get rid of the shit. Get rid of the grudges. Forget about the past. Forget about the past entirely. Regardless if it was good or bad, forget about it.
Grudges. You said grudges, irregardless of how severe they might be?
No word is irregardless. Sorry to correct you, but regardless is the word.
I said regardless.
No, you said irregardless.
Oh.
Yeah. You watch the tape. If I'm lying, I'm going to buy you a Coca-Cola.
Okay. Slurpee.
Yeah, Slurpee. You want brain freeze?
Brain freeze, yes.
No, you said grudges. Well, why would you hold a grudge for God's sakes?
Well,
you think me holding a gun is going to hurt you? You don't give a good goddamn if I have a grudge. You know, what do you care? But I care if I hold a grudge against you. I'm the guy that's taken the poison, not you.
Mm-hmm.
What good does it do you? You know, what good does a grudge do you?
So just let go.
Well, yeah. It's like I said, if it's a pail of crap, dump it. You know, that's why we have flush toilets.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have flush toilets?
Yeah.
You have a good bowel movement. You look at there, phew, dump it. Forget about it. Your life can be so much better, and never hold a grudge. Never, 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 never. Doesn't do you any good. Doesn't do you, because grudges poison you. They make you think of nasty things. They make you think of retribution. They make you think, I'll get even with that son of a bitch, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What is good is that they transgressed against you? What? So they did. You know, forget about it. They'll get their just rewards, or if we so believe, if we believe in the one Almighty,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's supposed to get their just rewards. Let that happen to them. You're no God. I'm no God. What am I going to do that's going to make it better? What am I going to do with retribution? What am I going to do? What satisfaction is going to give me?
Mm-hmm.
If I wish you evil, and you walk out of the door and a truck happens to run you over and kill you, and I said, well, God, Jesus, that's my fault, because I wish something bad would happen to you. So you're going to blame yourself for the rest of your life? Well, you don't have to blame yourself if you didn't have the grudge in the first place. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
Okay, so why are you giving yourself all that stress for it? If something happens to you that's stressful, get away from it for a while. Do something else that'll take your mind away from it. Read a book, or take a long walk, or do something, but just put it in the past.
Remove yourself from the situation.
Or remove it from your situation.
Yeah, better put.
Remove it from your situation.
Yeah.
And forget about it. And you'll see how much happier, how much inner peace you'll have, how much you can appreciate the good things that happen to you, or the good things that are there for you to reap.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of dwelling on the bad things. And there's so many people that you really can't get them to do that, because they'll bring up the past all the time. Oh, I remember when that guy did this to me, son of a bitch. Yeah, or I remember this, I remember that, or I remember when I did this. Oh, Jesus, why the hell did I do something stupid like that for? Why keep reminding yourself of things that you can do nothing about?
Yeah, it's true.
What the hell can you do about something that you did 20 years ago? Now, if you can say to yourself, Jesus, I remember I did a show in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and the people gave me a standing ovation. No, wasn't that great? Now, that's something that you don't have to put in your past. That's something you remember that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But the bad things, the shit, dump it. That's my advice. Now, whether you or anybody else out there wants to follow it, it's entirely up to you. But, you know, some of you might be my age, some of you might be a hell of a lot younger, some of you might be creeping up. But try it. Try it for a day. And if you can do it for a day, try it 2 days. It's like doing push-ups or planks. Do one to start with. Tomorrow do 2. The next day do 3. The next day do 4. Day 5 do 6. Day 7. See how easy it gets up to 20, and then see how easy it gets up to 50.
Mm-hmm.
And then the best part of it all is when you get up to 50 and you do 50 all at once, see how much better you feel.
Oh, yeah.
So do that in your life, in your mind, in your mind cycle.
I
Do the
hear
same
you.
thing.
I hear you.
Get rid of 1 today. Tomorrow, get rid of 2. I don't know how many you have or how many people have stressful things, but keep eliminating them 1 day at a time. Then all of a sudden, you'll walk around saying, Jesus. Oh, every now and then you might trigger something that happened and say, oh, I remember that. But you can laugh about it because it's happened and it's gone and there's not a damn thing that you can do about it.
Yeah.
So if that's a philosophy, I don't know. But suit yourself out there. You know, you can either live with it and be miserable or dump it and be happy.
Did you ever consider writing a book?
Be happy. Don Heron talked me into writing a book, and I got through about the first 3 chapters, and I had to give a $5,000 advance back to the publisher because I didn't finish it.
Oh, no.
Oh yes.
What was it, a biography?
It was a happening, yeah. What happened in my life, yeah. Things that happened, yeah. And there were some hilarious moments, but I never did get to finish it.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's something that maybe you triggered you prompted me into maybe trying to write another one. But there's so many hilarious things that have happened to me that you know, that are relatively hilarious. I should have, but I didn't. So here I am. I'm not the author.
Don, can you maybe list, just off the top of your head, some of the celebrities that you've either worked with or have met through your comedy as a vehicle?
Yeah, I've met a lot of Charlie Pride was a good friend of mine. He was born on the 14th of March. I was born on the 2nd, so we had a good thing going with us. Gene Hackman, a lot of people. You know, I hate to mention names because everybody says, yeah, so he met this guy, So, but I met a lot of good people, a lot of celebrities, a lot of fun people. Anne Murray. I remember meeting Ella Fitzgerald with Don Heron and Catherine McKinnon. We had a great evening at the Royal York Hotel. You know, I remember meeting guy that played the tattoo. What the hell's he played on the waterfront? Marlon Brando's brother. The hell's name? You know, I'm talking about. You know, so I met quite a few. I met quite a few Hollywood actors because my sister's, God rest her soul, my sister's husband was the sound engineer for MGM Studios.
Oh, really?
So when we used to go to, and they lived in Glendale, California. When we used to go to California, we'd go there, and he would take us into the studio. And Sammy Davis Jr. As a matter of fact, I met Sammy Davis Jr. when he first started out with his uncles and his dad at a theater in the York Theater in Toronto. Went to saw this fabulous act, the Davis family, and he just blew me away. Tap danced and sang and danced, and he was just a kid, just 14 or 15. But they
Mm-hmm.
brought, you know, they brought him on. The three older guys and him, and yeah, I met quite a few. And to tell you the truth, they were all pretty decent people. Pretty decent people.
Okay, next obvious question. Who in show business that you've met was just a total asshole?
Stevie Wonder.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, it wasn't what happened. He was so egotistical. It wasn't even funny. It was. I had a singer that we managed, and we took him there, and he was on Stevie Wonder was his producer. A black African American, blind, and he was just a total arrogant, self-absorbed individual.
Mm-hmm.
No time. He was the pinnacle. He was the motor that drove everything. He had kind. The funny thing that happened to him. We were staying at the same hotel as he was, as just a circumstance, and he was walking, and he had a cousin that used to take care of him, and the cousin would offer him his arm, so and I remember Stephen, get the motherfucker, get away from me! I know where I'm doing. And he's walking along, and he walked right into the goddamn swimming pool. Walk, splash! Well, we all, our jaws dropped, and his cousin yelled out, "Don't flush!" I thought, how apropos was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, mind you, one of the greatest talents in the world.
Yeah.
I can listen to that guy play the harp, the harmonica, till I'm blue in the face. And I can listen to the riffs and everything he does. Just a God-given, talented person. But to me, complete egotistical numbnuts.
Did you like the Rat Pack?
Yeah. Well, there again, they took quite a few liberties with Sammy Davis.
Mm.
Even his wife at that time chastised him for letting him get away with that. But you see, that was a different era. That's when big name guys like Sinatra and Martin and these guys could get away with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was belittling him, or whether it was just done in jest. From what I can ascertain, it was just done in jest because Frank really thought he was treated him as a brother. But the Rat Pack was funny. Yeah. What were you going to ask me about them? Sorry to interject.
Nothing. I just want to know if you were a fan.
Yeah, I enjoyed them. I enjoy it. I listen. If you listen to on the radio you see some of the stuff they did at the hotels. They recorded the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
Him, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and there was some funny shit.
There's actually, I have it. There's a CD of that show. I think it's from the Sands.
That's where it was, the Sands.
1967?
Could be.
Dean Martin.
I'm no good with numbers. Not years. Yeah, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and who else was there? I don't know. I forget. But that was a fun. Did you enjoy that? Did you
Yes.
enjoy that bit?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Good stuff.
So, you think we could get a few words with Nestor?
Well, put to conclusion, I'm going to put on this hat. Now, this original, look, it's got hole in there.
Yes.
See that hole? Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to put on this hat. And I'm going to say to people out there, thank you. Don't you think that I don't appreciate all the lovely things you say, but even bad things don't make no never mind to me. So say what the hell you want to say, but thank you for being such good fans. And I'm going to tell you before I go, like we were talking about family and aunties and uncles and how funny they were. So I'm going to tell you about my aunt Bonnie. Bonnie, they was called her Bunevich, but everybody called her Bonnie because she was cute like a rabbit. You know how cute rabbits can be, little
Yes.
rabbits. Yeah. So they called her Bonnie, but she was hell of a golfer. Oh, her daddy, because he was watch Woods Tiger. You know that's guy that's golfer.
Mhm.
He's got the Tiger for his club. You know, and then he was put golf club in her hands when she was just hardly to walk. You know, so she was learning pretty good. Not that he was a great teacher, but she was kind of natural. You know, swinger. And she was doing she was at the golf club one time. She was doing kind of practice putting to the green, you know. And three guys talking about the green. Where is that son of a gun? He was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. Now he's not here. We're going to miss that foursome. God darn it, that guy always late. Son of a bitch guy is not here. And she was over here, all this nasty conversation. She said, excuse me, fellas, but I see that you're very upset because your foursome didn't show up. She said, I'm not that golfer. I said, if you're short one person, you know, I'm not going to embarrass you, but if it's one person, could I make up your foursome? Now what they're going to do is 35 minutes late. They know he's not going to show. Say, yeah, okay. So she goes golf with him. And if she don't beat him, easy by 8 strokes. You can't say, oh, son of my God, that lady's pretty funny. What are you late to play golf? Oh, she says, you know, I was practicing, you know. He says, you know, we got a game tomorrow, 7:30. Do you think you could join us for foursome? She says, yeah. She says, I could join you for foursome. But she said, worst, I could be 15 minutes late. Oh, don't matter, 15 minutes. She turned up right on the dot. She go and they play sound and she knocked them dead again. Beat everybody, best score by 10. Huh. Now they was looking at each other to astonishment. Says, you know, Bunny, we got game tomorrow, 6 o'clock. You think you could make it? She says, sure. But remember, I tell you this, I could be 15 minutes late. That's okay. Don't worry too much about that, Bunny. Okay, that's it. 6 o'clock, she was there. And you know what? She was shoot left-handed.
Mm.
And if she don't beat everybody by 12 strokes, best thing, left-handed. Now, how in the hell can she be that good? She beat us left-handed. She says, we got game tomorrow. I don't know if you want to put up with us, such amateur golfer, but you think you could. Yeah. Yes, yeah. She said, but remember, I was told you I could be 15 minutes late. He said, that's okay. She said, but he said, Bonnie, could I ask you a personalization question? He says, yeah. He says, when you shoot right and then you shoot right twice and then you shoot left once, and how you do that? She said, well, very easy. She says, you see, when I go to bed, and my husband Nick, he's a hell of a nice guy, but he likes to sleep in the nude. Oh, so well, she says, when I get up in the morning to go golfing, I look to see what side his doohickey laying there. If his doohickey laying to the right side, I golf right. If his doohickey laying to the left side, I shoot left. So one asshole, he's got to be the joker for the whole crowd. He said, yeah, Bunny, left, right. What if it's straight up like that? She says, well, if it's straight up like that, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. So there you go, lovely people. Little story to knock off the bullshit we've been handing you for the last couple of hours. Dr. Talk, been a pleasure speaking with you.
Don, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and my favorite interview so far has been with you, sir. And I hope that somewhere down the road you'll come on my show again.
I would love to. And I just want to leave you people with this, and I'm talking like Nestor now. You know what Don was saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not bullshit. Not bullshit.
No. That's
not bullshit. I'm telling you people right there. You take it from me, Nestor. Verbitationalist. You got the pail of shit next to you. Unless you want to attract flies, dump it. Mm-hmm. You'll feel much better. No grudges. Get rid of the shit. Love you, everybody. Good night. Good night, Dr. Talk.
Wait, before you go, we have to show... Where is it now?
Oh, you want to give me a plug?
Yes.
Hope it's not chew tobacco.
No. There it is. If you're interested in booking Don, or you just want to send him a nice email, tell him you're a fan, I'm sure he would love to hear from you. That's npp@tellusplanet.net. And you can also reach him at 1-780-909-5431. Well, Don.
Dr. Talk, thanks for the plug.
Of course. It wasn't such a hortatory plug, though.
You remember the Sons of Hortatory?
Of course.
For all the good they did me.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, Don. You take care, my friend. Sit tight. I'm going to sign off. Just sit tight.
Okay.
Okay, people watching. If you're still watching, I hope you are. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next Sunday.